sense of superiority to all of our enemies. Thank you. And that's it for me.
Thanks, Tiger. And just for a disclaimer, I am recording this. What I found was that several people have reached out saying that, hey, they would love to catch it, to learn more about it, and for trying to reach a larger crowd. I would love to start recording these. Just be careful for what you may say on here. It may show up somewhere, but I wanted to let you all know that this is being recorded and to just kind of be careful what you put out there. But going back to you, Tiger, could you let us know, what you do and maybe your title?
Okay, I'm a retired legislator. I spent 24 years in the Maryland House of Delegates on Ways and Means. I'm also a retired professor of history at Morgan State University. But more than anything, I've been involved in the Black veterans movement since the late 1960s. And I guess that is what I consider to be my claim to fame, because when we were coming home from the military in the 60s, first thing I know is cops wanted to beat up on us and we end up in jail. My first day home, I was in jail. Wallace Buford coming in from Germany, one of the greatest athletes ever at Dunbar, ended up on his way from Fort Dix, stops in Philadelphia. Rizzo's cops beat him and he ended up blind the rest of his life until he couldn't take it and he committed suicide. So when we talk about Black veterans, that has been my thing. And I've never been able to get away from it. In fact, I keep promising my wife that each year is going to be the last, but somehow here I am getting ready to turn 80 years old and can't get away. But I promised my wife I will be getting away soon.
Fantastic. Thanks, Tiger. Appreciate that. Next, we're going to have Charmin and then Jim.
Good morning, everyone, or shall I say great morning. As Dr. X said, I'm Charmin Jacobs. I have a couple of businesses, but one that I'm going to speak about today in my introduction is Teachable Learnable Solutions, where we help organizations, teams, and individuals reach their full human potential through DEI work and leadership and development. So your network is your net worth. Well, all successful people aren't successful by themselves. They have to have a team of folks. And in order to have a team of folks, you got to network and get out there and get to know people and build up your ROR, your return on relationship. And so I'm a people person. I'm all about building relationships, especially those that look like me with the melon, BIPOC folks. So I'm glad to be here and glad to see the faces.
All right. Thanks, Charmin. Appreciate that. And thanks for joining my personal board of advisors for the Dory Miller campaign. That's something that Tiger has brought me into. So really appreciate that, Charmin. Next, we will have Jim Henderson and then Dedrin.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Good morning. I'm Jim Henderson, J.E. Henderson Financial, Savant Tax and Business Services. As the name suggests, I involve myself in financial stuff and tax stuff. My net worth is due to my network. Without that, I could not survive. I would not have survived in the 30 years I've been in business. And as a result of not being able to be hired by anybody once I retired from the military. So I'm glad to be here. Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Thank you. I know there's a story behind that, Jim. We'll have to get that story out of you. This whole idea of us, especially Black veterans, having a hard time finding a job once we get out versus some of our counterparts. I'll leave it at that. Next, Dedrin and then Annette. Dedrin, you're on mute. All right, Dedrin, we'll come back to you. I know you may be traveling right now. Annette and then Jesse.
Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year's 2022. My name is Annette Mann. I am a veteran, cold-hearted veteran. I have been through so much. I have learned through my journey. I'm a VSO officer. I also work for an organization called NetVets for Black veterans. And I am the vice commander. And I also work for an organization called I'm Still Standing. It's an organization that's have different types of schooling for people like us to help them really get farther than starting at the bottom. So it's like elevator tech, cybersecurity, so many. I ain't even got so many of them, and going into aviation. So if anybody interested, just get in touch with me and I'll send you the flyers. And I'm also a deacon, but my net worth is more than I know. I just give back and give back and give back because that's who I am as a person. And I know what it's like to struggle with people of color, especially women, you know, so wherever I can fit in, I show up and try to show out to give my best support to whatever organization that calls upon me. That's who I am. That's my network.
Fantastic. Thanks, Annette. And before I go any further, if everyone can please put whatever contact information that they're comfortable sharing in the chat pod, because the magic of this is what we're doing right now, networking. What we're talking about soon with Eddie Peters is the networking. So if you're comfortable putting your contact information in the chat pod, I think it would be great. It will be a force multiplier. And I'll be able to send not only the recording, but the chat as well. That way we can connect some dots. Next we'll have Jesse Citizen and Rob Campbell.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I wasn't here last weekend, so happy New Year's and happy you. And your net work is your net worth. This is an example of networking, and I think each of us have had the opportunity and pleasant experience of using our networks and people in our lives to increase our network. For me, in addition to my legacy of 32 years active duty, Air Force, as well as a federal civilian for about 12 years, this has provided me the network to help my grandkids and kids further their life's ambitions. And for me, that's what my network is. Yes, opportunity has prevailed me with a few pensions, but that allows me to help others throughout my community here in Woodbridge, Virginia, to include other youths that are not in my family. So I partner with a group called Future Kings, where they're focused upon Black youth and Latinx youth and helping them gain their footing in the science, technology, engineering, and math career. So for me, that's what the network is, being able to position yourself to help others further their lives. Thank you, and hey, good morning again.
Hey, thanks, Jesse. And one thing about Jesse, we met on the Armoa call years ago, Retired Military Officers Association. That's the call that's going to start at 9 a.m. I do want to let you know that fortunately, I was able to put myself in the shoes of Jim Henderson. I'm replacing him as the vice president of that organization. So hopefully you can join that call at 9. I'll try to remember to put that Zoom link in the chat pod, but that's at 9 o'clock this morning. So we'll finish up a little bit early so I can jump on that call. Next we will have Rob and then Valerie.
Good morning, Dr. X and all. Happy New Year for those who are new or hadn't been on. I guess the question is, I'm sorry, net worth, how it relates to our network?
Correct.
Okay. I guess we consider our net worth based upon financial, but I look at other aspects, social or, religious or so. So that more or less allows us to be, I guess, active in the community from, I guess, how we were taught growing up. grew up in African American Episcopal Church, you know, as a kid, or your teachers, or, you know, my grandmothers are choir members or so they were disciplinarians or so they taught us how to read, you know, had the largest parts, not because I was the best actor, but because I could remember things. So it helped me later in life in terms of math, being able to get, you know, a navigator slot in the Air Force and things of that nature. But we try to give back through our service. I think I mentioned earlier to many that we're in the process of transitioning careers. So this is my first week of actually teaching as a middle school math teacher. And let me tell you, I've never been so tired in my life in terms of these kids, but I love them dearly. And when the kids said, "Hey, Mr. Rob," most of them don't even know I've got a PhD. I say, "Hey, call me Mr. Rob." You know, gives you a hat. "Hey, Mr. Rob, have a good weekend. Here's a paper hat I made for you." Or when a student says, "Hey, I wish you were our teacher," or when can you come back and tutor us or so. So that makes it all worth it. So I give back my education, which I've you know, attained not only necessarily at a college level, but on a secondary level or so, trying to give back. And that makes it all worth it. I was telling my friends, everyone calls and say, "Hey man, we're praying for you," but somebody has to do it, and they appreciate that, especially people who look like us. Our students need to see it as well as others to see that we're accomplished. We don't necessarily have to be athletes or so, or you can be in good shape, but you can be educationally or, you know, in terms of our not superior, but great as well. And they appreciate it. So that's how I give back in terms of my education. It's been rewarding already the 3 days. So getting ready this weekend, just relax and going full for it until something else comes about. But there's a reason for this. And I believe as a guy, wherever you want me, and I see why things happen. So it's good to be here again. Thank you for your network again. As I say that every weekend, or getting up early, it's worth it. I thank you all. Dr. X, thanks for putting this together. Amen.
Hey, thanks, Rob. Rob is an epidemiologist. You don't find too many brothers who are epidemiologists. I'm just saying. And if you can, Rob, maybe post the link to your interview with this next young lady, Mrs. Valerie Austin. Over to you, Valerie.
So I know that you.
Oh, you're on mute, Valerie.
Oh, that's because I had nothing to say. Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. Such a great way to start off the new year. Basically, I am a career and college readiness author and presenter, and I conduct interviews for my series Employer Speaks, where I had the esteemed Dr. Robert Campbell, epidemiologist. And the question was, your network, how is your net worth defined by your network? Well, my great grandmother used to tell me that if you lie down with dogs, you're going to get fleas. So she would assign value to the people you put around you. And basically, life is a matter of giving and taking. And you have people in your life who give, and you have people in your life who take. And it's like your bank account. You could take money out, you could take money and put it back in. And so it goes around to every person in your life touches you and they provide value. Like if you have parents that are encouraging and supporting and loving, then that's priceless. If you have people in your life who bring you down, then that's a negative in that column. So your net worth is your network because it's a matter of who you surround yourself with. And so I guess that mute button is off because I did have something to say. So good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Valerie. Thanks so much for that. Next, we will have Jerry and then Michael. Jerry Taylor.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jerry Taylor. My net worth and my network, I guess is kind of summed up to him that much is given, much is required. I grew up in the deep South. And when I say the deep South, I mean Montgomery, Alabama. I had the distinction of being a rebel with a cause. I went to school with George Wallace Jr. and his sister. They were classmates. And so I finished high school at 16. By the time I was 17, I was in the military with the blessings of my father. And unfortunately, I have not looked back. You know, I left the Deep South and I have no intentions of ever returning. But at 17, I ended up in the military with the initial enlistment of 6 years, too young to go to Vietnam. And by the time I was old enough to get to Vietnam, trust me, I ended up there. But I also hit the service at a good time because they were looking for men of color to engage in special operations and black ops. There were no black men in the Green Beret Special Forces. So they started recruiting. And I got lucky, I guess, and was able to survive that regiment. And so my contacts and my networks, they're probably shadowy individuals. We're very effective. We do everything from behind the scene, and nothing we do ever existed. And so that defines my net work as well as my net worth. And I spend the bulk of my time now giving back, you know, because there is a guilt complex. All of the skullduggery that I've dealt in over the years, it tends to haunt you. And so you need to try to, I guess, undo some of that drudgery and skullduggery that you've dealt in. So that pretty much explains me. I am still gainfully employed at 73. And the bulk of what I do is try to teach veterans and their dependents how to be independent. You know, don't depend on the system or anyone else to do for you what you know you must do for yourself. And the things that you can't do for yourself, don't be too proud to ask for help. Help is available. So that's basically what I spend my days doing. Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry. That last part sounds a lot like uplift your damn self to me. Next we will have Michael Black and Tony. Over to Mike.
Hey, good morning, Dr. X, and good morning, family here. Happy New Year to everyone as well. Michael Black, retired Air Force, served for 26 and a half years, did IT, communications, and now called cyber. Very interesting question. I actually gave a talk to vets, to industry on networking, and I gave what I call Mike's morsels, and one of my morsels was using your network to improve your net worth. And so I totally subscribe to that. And it's networking is much more than business cards. Connectivity is the currency of today. Everybody understands money and the importance of that, but connectivity is the currency of today. And you've got to nurture those relationships. You don't want to be introducing yourself to somebody and saying, hey, can I have $1 million? The first time you meet them. But if you've cultivated that relationship over the years, you may be able to, to work that out. Networking also allows you to meet interesting people. It may lead to a coach, mentor, or sponsor. It allows you to give a different perspective on things. Also, one other thing I would say about this, I had my first boss after I got out. The service told me that my contacts were only good for 18 months. And that pissed me off. Because I said, you don't know me and you don't know about my relationships. And I certainly proved him wrong. We had a great working relationship, but that was something that made me mad. And I told him about it because my contacts are much greater than 18 months. If you cultivate and nurture that network, that relationship, you will see. And then finally today, it's not 6 degrees of separation anymore. It's 2 degrees of separation. And I will make this statement. I hope you remember this. There is 1 degree of separation between me and anybody you want to meet.
Boom, drop the mic, just log off now. It's over. Thanks, Mike. Mike's fellow Air Force Academy grad, fraternity brother, and also used to work at White House Communications Agency. Fantastic, Mike. Next we will have Tony and then Nat.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, I got my Bluetooth on. I'm actually on the way. I'm kind of in a bad mood. I'm on the way to an event, an outreach event at a veteran organization that they asked me to be at, and I'm going there. But I'll be probably the only African American guy there. But the one thing I have learned is that at least I was invited. And not all skin folks are kin folks. So when I look at the net worth versus my net worth, I probably have over 15,000 in my net worth. But the actual value is probably zero. The only thing that makes it worthwhile is God. There are times, even like now, as I'm driving to this event, all the event that they invited me to, you kind of feel defeated, the imposter syndrome, you look around. But one thing I know is always there is God, and I'm gonna be there because that's my place of assignment. So I'm driving there right now. So that's, for me, I don't really see the, as far as the balance or the currency of a net worth of a network. So that's Tony, I'm off the mic.
Okay, thanks for that perspective, Tony. Appreciate that. Next, we're gonna have Nat and then Eddie.
Thank you, Dr. X. I gotta give a plug in there for my good friend Tiger Davis. We go back many years. Hey, when I saw your name up there, Tiger, I said, wait a minute, Tiger Davis. But I say we go back before we go there. I've known Tiger, man, I don't even want to say how long, but long enough. We're Baltimoreans. He went to Dunbar, I went to Solace Point. So, hey, we both understand these segregated schools. He knows my brother-in-law, Doug DeLever over there, and we're connected. So Tiger, good to see you, brother. Good to see you. You're looking good.
Thank you.
I got to get that plug in there.
Amen. Thank you for that.
All right.
Y'all had a
right.
great track team, man. I will never forget your track team now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So this is like a semi-family reunion there, Dr. X, so forgive me on that end. But back to your question, your network is worth your net worth. My network, and back to Michael and others, I teach networking. And networking basically is just like you said, not business cards, but relationships. And I like to think too, by my connection with the National Association of African Americans and Human Resources, of which I'm one of the founders, we are 7,000 people in 30 states. Not saying my network is 7,000, but it's almost reaching that. And through that founding organization and networking, my business, basically, I don't advertise, to be quite candid. I do not need to advertise my company. My network is my net worth. And I make sure that I build those and strengthen those and continue those relationships that's out there. I try to communicate with my network 24/7, really. They get emails from me 3 a.m. in the morning, 4 a.m. in the morning, whatever. So I always think, for my 22 years being in business, my network has definitely increased my net worth. So I would tell anybody, don't look at it from a business card. Build that relationship. And I'll say this, it's not so much who I know, it's so much who knows me. So and when people say, well, hey, I know this person, yeah, but my goal is, in terms of networking, is that I want to be at least number 1 or number 2 on their thought mind. Don't want to go 3 and 4 because then they forget about me. But number 1 or number 2, I want to be that go person that says, hey, let me call Nat or somebody else. And that's building that relationship. So my network is strong in my net worth. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Nat. Appreciate that. Next, we're going to have Eddie and then Dale.
Hey, good morning, comrades. Happy New Year, of course, to each and every one of you. I want to say, so that I don't forget, to have a blessed and safe, healthy, and prosperous new year to yourselves and all of the families represented. You know, when such a great question this morning, and I'm so glad that I'm so far down the line and listening to what everybody else had to say in terms of the relationship between the network and the net worth. For me, really, that relationship can be summed up in service to many. And I really look at this room that I'm in. I've never, ever claimed to be the smartest person in the room, for sure. My father didn't either. He said I wasn't the smartest either in the room, right? And definitely not the most talented or anything along those lines, but I was at least smart enough to be in that room where all of those folks were. And I continue to strive to do that as I get older. You know, we do get a little bit smarter as we get older. And so I'm taking full advantage of that and the relationships that are being built, because they never go away. A lot of other things can pass with time, but when it's a real relationship there, it never goes away. And kind of like what Nat was just saying, you know, who knows you in that sense, as opposed to who you know. When that's solid, man, that search engine optimization is right there, right, Nat? I mean, you're absolutely right. So I appreciate that comment, and I'll just leave it brief at that, and say good to see everybody's faces also as well, and be safe and God bless.
Hey, thanks, Eddie. Next, we're going to have Dale and then Aura.
Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Dale Dix. I'm happy to be here this morning. Network and net worth. What I do is I am actually a financial educator, and in doing so, I show people how to make smart choices with their money, how to accumulate wealth, achieve financial independence, and pass on a legacy into perpetuity. With regard to networking, I've not been very good when it comes to networking. I think I've always been very sincere and genuine in terms of attempting to network, but I was not strategic about it. And therefore it hasn't worked all that well for me. However, I do realize that to be successful as a business person, as an entrepreneur, there are three critical things that I have to master. And those are communications, building relationships, and developing trust. And I believe if I am successful with those activities going forward, that I will continually, as well as spend time around some of you folks who have mastered networking, I believe that going forward, I will be successful blossoming and exploding, if you will, my net worth. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Right, thanks, Dale. Next, we're going to have Aura and then Jason.
Well, good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year's. Godspeed to you all. Recently, someone asked me, what does Godspeed mean? That means goodwill to you, you know, on your journey of life. I continue my journey. First of all, when you speak of network and net worth, I am a Washingtonian, replanted, born in Virginia, been here most of my life. Educated here, have thrived here. Started off as a carekeeper once I graduated from school. My mother was in carekeeping, and my mother was the person who introduced me to my Lord and Savior, who is the anchor, and he's my counselor, and I look to him for direction on all things. And it has guided me through my life. Once, as I said, I became a carekeeper for infants, actually became a baby nurse. For about 10 years, and then circumstances led me to Metro. I entered Metro as a bus operator, left as a superintendent, overseeing over 2,500 personnel. Networking while I was there, I created several programs in reference to mentoring was a key factor for me. I think by nature, I'm a natural, God gifted me with being one that looks out for others. It says, who can I help on my way? So on my journey, I'm always looking for a way to help others. I became a member of Galilee Baptist Church over 22 years ago. I've been with them, created the program for veterans because I saw the need for it. I am a daughter of a vet, I am a sister of a vet, and I'm a wife of a vet. So I'm a vet by proxy, as I call it, because we know that the family serves as well. So I'm honored to serve the veterans that served us so well. I've been the program manager there for over 10 years. I'm thankful for it. And I've joined NADVET. I'm a VSO. I'm an advocate for veterans in a hard way. I go hard for my veterans. I work hard for you because y'all have, I always say freedom is not free. The life that we live is because of the veterans and that y'all have given us. So anything that I can do to help our veterans, I've created several programs, and the networking is so important. To be on this call with each and every one of you is just an increase of territory for me. I've known X for a few years now. I've known Jerry for a few years now. Actually, between Jerry and Commander Mike Moses, they were the ones who encouraged me to become a VSO, because not just running the program, I wanted to be in the trenches with those that helping and have a true understanding. So that's why I became a VSO as well. I look forward to this year, the excitement that each one of you will bring to each one of us, the exchange of knowledge. Knowledge is power. The word says that my people, fail because of a lack of knowledge. So the more that we share the knowledge, the higher that we will go. Thank you. God bless.
All right, thanks, Aura. Next, Jason and then Billy.
Good morning, Saints. How are you all today? Jason Smith out of Atlanta, Georgia. And my company is Sales Synergistics. I put the information in the chat. But I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia, trying to build my network by being of service to my network. I feel as though if you want to get the most net worth out of it, you need to go and serve your network. And so throughout most of my time here as an adult, I've been doing lots of volunteer work, going out and helping out with different organizations. 4-block military veteran transition program, Vetlanta, an organization in Atlanta, pulling together all the veteran service organizations and helping them out. Bunker Labs, helping military veteran entrepreneurs start and run their own businesses. And all through that entire time, we're going and ask people with power and authority and resources to please come help, asking them and currying favor and being a networker to connect powerful people to those in need. I figured it was time to be one of those powerful people. So I'm focusing my attention, having put down a lot of the volunteer efforts to focus on growing my node in my network to be of service to others and to be a resource that others can tap into. There's a lot of people who feel as though the most value they give is service, but I want to grow my ability to be a person of influence in my network. I'm going to do that by creating a business I can pass on to my grandchildren. So that's what I'm working on, and I'm looking to help others do the same.
Right, thanks, Jason. Jason's also a fellow Air Force Academy grad. So thanks for representing. Next, we're going to have
maybe go fly the flag.
There you go. There you go. Next, we're going to have Billy and then GI.
Good morning, all. Happy New Year, y'all. I'm Billy Gregory, and I'm a retired 30-year Air Force vet. My background as an enlisted person. I was admin and command and control. I've been told by quite a few of my fellow vets that I think I have a God-given talent that I never met a stranger. And I think that's probably coming from the country of Arkansas, country boy. We know everybody's a friend. And I see you shaking your head, Dr. X there. My thing in reference to network, I had the opportunity to work for a lieutenant. Well, I worked for him as 06, and he retires a 3-star communicator. And he's always told me, he said, Billy, so you call people when you don't need them. So when you do need them, they don't feel like they're being used. So I think that's a part of networking as well. And I think when I meet people that they can always, I assure them that they can always call me. They can always call me. And my net worth, I look back as giving back to my community at all. And also, not to get too biblical or spiritual, tithing is also not necessarily giving money, it's also giving your time. And so I'm very fortunate in that, and I have a lot of free time, a lot of good friends that we do agree on giving back. And I feel like, excuse me, when I can give back, my day is not in vain. Thank you.
Thanks, Billy. Next, we're going to have GI and then Jay. GI, you on mute. All right, we'll come back to GI. Next, we're going to have Jay and then Gloria.
Good morning. My name's Jay Kerr. Air Force Academy grad, Air Force vet. Excited to be on the call as usual. Sorry, my my camera is a little challenged today, but the network is the net worth. I mean, that's probably been at least 25 years in the works for me. Everything I've done during my time at the Air Force Academy, getting into the Air Force Academy was a result of my parents and grandparents' network while I was there, forming a group. That's why I know Dr. X. And in terms of business, my most prosperous times as a business person, or when I really maximize my net worth. I can't say anything more profound than I've heard so far, but I'm really excited to pull off the energy. These Saturday mornings are becoming very valuable to me. So Godspeed to all of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay. Next, Gloria, and then Paul.
Good morning, everyone. And Happy New Year to everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm good to be with you all this morning. I see some familiar faces and I'm seeing some new faces too. So for the benefit of those that have not met me, I'm going to just run down the chronology real quick and not take up a lot of time. But started out as a registered nurse in Chicago, 5 generations of Shreveport, Louisiana, and 5 generations of Chicagoans. So that's my background and legacy passed on, and from mostly women, small enclave of women coming out of Shreveport in 1865. After finishing nursing school and working as an RN in the emergency room of Cook County Hospital and Jackson Park, I joined the Navy, first Black neuropsychiatric nurse at the Naval Hospital in Bethesda during the wave of young men that were coming in from Vietnam, affected by and infected by Agent Orange. After my time at the Naval Hospital, I was a case manager with Tuskegee Airmen, Lieutenant Andrew Carey, who was a psychiatrist with the DC Alcohol and Drug Rehab Center, and a very new program for DC in 1963. I did 35 years with the Federal Executive Service at HUD, EPA, Fannie Mae, and the Department of Interior. My background in the federal government was in civil rights and urban affairs, an EEO officer, affirmative action officer. And then I did 20 more years in Muskegon, Michigan, as the director of the Urban League of Greater Muskegon, and helping to start the Veterans Center there and the Michigan Humanities Council. I find that a lot of Blacks are not into the humanities, but everything we do is a part of the humanities. And that is where the money is in a lot of instances. And so my network here and then going into 2022 is to move my team that I work with, the wonderful Dr. X, Attorney Towns, Chaplain Krista Forbes, and Edwin Winder, who is with the Maryland Department of Corrections. It's only 7 of us, but that 7 was able to tap into the $434 million that Governor Hogan put into the state of Maryland. If your county didn't get any of it, I don't know what to say, but I will say this: projects is not going to get you any money. Programs is not going to get you a whole lot, but that's what we are going to attempt to do. I got a letter on the 29th of December that I have not shared with my team yet, but it's thanking us for being a partner and that we played a vital role in the success of conducting 8,248 COVID tests and 698 vaccinations between July 1st, 2021 and December 26, 2021 at all of the sites throughout Montgomery County. And now the National Child and Family network of Montgomery County has determined that we have successfully fulfilled our agreement with the African American Health Project and the COVID Response Initiative and have been asked to apply for funding for 2022. And we have a lot of work to do after today, Xavier, because we have to get our proposal in by January 20th. It's going in under a new name, so I want you all that are in other parts of Maryland to be aware. Black Physicians and Healthcare Network, the BPHN, Black Physicians Healthcare Network. It will be starting, the funding starts January 1st, 2022 through June 2022. I don't know what we're gonna get, but we're gonna get some of it. In addition, I got sick. You all, I'm 81, and sometimes I think I'm 18, and I did get COVID. I was very, very ill just before Christmas, but I'm okay now. The Lord has seen me through it. I'm feeling much better. I'm feeling stronger. I lost 7 pounds, so I'm real skinny. I'll probably get those pounds back on soon because we've got lots of work to do. We might have to make a trip to Chicago, Xavier, the whole team, to be invited to go before the University of Chicago, where I took some of my classes, network, to be the African American voice for them at NIH. So that's what we're looking forward to. That's what we're gonna be. When I say we, my little team of 8, that's the work we're gonna be doing for 2022. Anything that I can do to help increase that among any of you, we will certainly do that. But let me just tell you this. We have to speak and do the language that Maryland is using going forward. If you can't show that your program is going to produce outcomes and going to change the face of COVID, because it is not going away. I was just in a meeting last night, Anna and I, and it is far worse than we know. It is bad. And they got 4 million last year. I understand that they got more than the 4 million in the state of Maryland this year. And if we don't get some of it, then shame on us. So that's where I am. I'm trying to stay healthy. And I got a wonderful brother, 2 brothers, Edwin and Xavier. And they just gonna have to be ready to hit the road, is all I could say. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Gloria. Appreciate that. And thanks for being on my board of advisors, as well as Sharman on the Dory Miller Congressional Medal of Honor campaign. So thank you, Gloria. Next, Paul and then Dedrin.
Good morning, everybody, and Happy New Year as well. I want to make sure I'm clear on the question X. The question was, what is the connection between network and net worth? Okay. So most of the people that know me know I kind of try to take things, as they kind of come. When I think of net worth, I think of the value that you own or you possess. I don't know if I ever really owned, a whole lot or had a lot of money. So net worth has never really been a goal of mine, because I think that working hard, doing what you got to do, taking care of your family is about, the extent of network. I just recently opened a business, my wife and I, where we're going to work through refurbishing homes and things like that. That's kind of motivation from X through our connection. But for me, it's always been about networking. I spent 26 years in the Army. I know a lot of people, it always surprises me when I hear people say, you're lucky if you have 1 or 2 people that you can really call on to, kind of be there for you. For me, I like to consider myself extremely lucky because I have multiple men and women within the network that I have that I know I can call on and depend on at a moment's notice to be there to help me in whatever situation that is. Working towards continuing to build that network is exactly why I'm here. Through Xavier, Jesse, Nat, Charmin, Eddie, Mr. Davis, Mr. Taylor, Dale Dix, Gloria, or just listening to the information that you all present on a week-to-week basis is what continues to build that network for me. I now know that if I have questions about, money and financial questions, I can reach out to Dale because I have his information. If I have questions about the NAB vets, I can go to Aura or Gloria. Mr. Davis is always there. Mr. Taylor is always there. Mike Moses, Eddie Peters, right? So for me, networking is not only establishing those relationships and building them, but continuing to grow those networks. I guess someday I'll get to a point where net worth is a concern of mine. But I mean, generally, as long as I'm able to live and take care of myself and my family, I'm not ultimately concerned about net worth. But I'm happy to be here. Thanks again for your for your help and your guidance, X. I wanted to also tell everybody that I am now the vice commander for the Western Maryland NABVETS. We just had our monthly elections. Greg McClures is the new commander, and I'm the vice commander. And on behalf of the National Associations of Negro Professional Women here in Frederick, Western Maryland NABVETS is going to receive the Community Service Award next week here in Frederick, and that's a lot of work based on the groundwork that Xavier put down and started here in Frederick. We're forever grateful, and I just wanted to make sure that you knew that.
That's fantastic, brother. Appreciate that. Appreciate that so much. Glad it worked out. Next, we're going to have Dedrin and then Bryant. I think Dedrin is unavailable. Next, Bryant, and then back to GI.
Good morning, everybody. I have to agree with, I can't remember who it was. I don't have much more to say inspiring when it comes to the network and the network. It is important, and it's only because of the people that I know that put me in a position that I am in right now. The small, I guess, little tidbit that I would add, hopefully it does give some value, is understanding people are watching you when you don't know it. Your network is built sometimes from afar. People view your work, your motivation, and see value in you, and they'll pull you in. So this is one of the integrity phase, that the Air Force has, and I mean, it's true, and it's because of that, me working hard and doing good work when I thought when nobody was looking, allowed me to be pulled into a network that I didn't even anticipate. So with that, everyone have a continued and blessed year.
All right, thanks, Bryant. Next, GI. Are you available, GI? All right, hearing none. He personally began hosting a business coaching networking event, One More Customer, to bring business owners together to receive the actionable intel necessary to obtain one more customer. He was recognized for his efforts at the historic 100th Chamber Annual Meeting and was just recently nominated for the annual At Your Service Award, which will be awarded in 2022. In his words, "It's a blessing to be a blessing, serving fellow small business owners, families, and especially fellow veterans with these vital and timely services. Along with his membership with the Chamber, he continues to serve the community with Legal Shield and vocal expressions." Comrades, please welcome Eddie Peters.
Hey, thank you, sir, very, very much. I'm going to get this going. Can everybody see my screen okay?
Yes.
All right, outstanding. And you know, I'm going to be very brief here because this network has grown so much because of all of the efforts of Dr. X in facilitating this. I'm forever grateful. I know I speak for everyone else on here as well. We can take an hour just introducing ourselves and giving just a little tidbit of what we're doing and what's going on in our personal and professional lives. And I think that speaks volumes, sir. And so thank you so much for your leadership and your friendship also. I have the privilege of talking very briefly about what's the big deal about networking. There are those that don't necessarily see the same value or on the same level across the board. A lot of it has to do with, it can be comfort zone, it can be a lot of different things. But I just wanted to give you from my perspective, if you will, why it's so very important, especially now. You know, it's one thing that COVID has done in changing the world, if you will, and how we're doing business and how we're conducting business. But I think one of the things that it really opened our eyes up to was how much we miss each other, right? Just being able to be in the same room with each other. Think about how much we had to we were taken aback because we couldn't shake hands anymore. You know, we had to fist bump or we had to elbow bump. You know, we had to do all these things that we weren't used to anymore because, see, we are human beings, and these associations means that in essence that we associate one to another, and all of a sudden that was gone, and we had to go with the modern technology, which is great because, my goodness, where would we have been again from a business perspective and personally as well with our families and being able to reach out and couldn't just jump on a plane in a car and just go where you wanted when you wanted anymore. Where would we have been if we didn't have the Zooms of the world and so forth to connect us and at least supplement those relationships that we've been talking about? So anytime I hear anyone talking about, oh my God, it's another Zoom or what have you, I'm gonna come back to that if I don't forget, X, as I fly through this brief presentation. Please remind me what the deal is. My Eddieism is on Zoom. Okay, I'm gonna try to remember that beforehand. So that's on you if I forget and you don't remind me. All right. So listen, getting right to it. We hear the term networking all the time. What exactly is it? And I just went on and decided, let me just go ahead and look this thing up and make sure that we've got it directly. The official definition: a supportive system of sharing information and services among individuals and groups having a common interest. And you see, I have underlined and highlighted sharing information and services. That's a big deal, and I'm going to come back with that because it's absolutely the sharing of information and services and networking. Not everybody gets that. And for me, the purpose of going from the official definition to my Eddieism, if you will, I believe the purpose of networking is, especially in business, is the purpose is to provide the opportunity to help each other's phone ring with your next customer. Let me say that again. It's the purpose is to provide the opportunity to help each other's phone ring with your next customer. And I call that connect working. It goes further than, like I heard during the intros this morning, it goes a lot further than just simply handing someone a business card. That's not a connection, right? It's what you do with the information on that card that makes it the connect working that is going to help take us all to the next level as far as I'm concerned. And when you think about it, it sounds like that's too easy, all right, right? But it really isn't. And so, you know, it's easy for us to mess up. Yeah, I had to do it, X. I had to throw that one on in there. It's easy for us to mess up, right? But let's see if any of you have experienced any of these folks before out there, right? In other words, here's my way of being able to say what not to do. And maybe that'll help some of those who have not necessarily experienced networking on the level that they may be desiring to do in 2022. Number one, you got the double Dutch, double clutch. I call that the con, right? Yeah, say that 3 times fast, right? So here's the thing. You know, if you've ever gone to a networking event and basically you come up to someone or they come up to you kind of thing and they ask, you know, of course you go through the pleasantries and then you can't get a word in edgewise the rest of the way, right? That person is just so excited, right? They're excited over excitement, I call it, and they're just talking away. Well, that's the double Dutch, double clutch. You know, if you ever tried to do double Dutch before, you're trying to get in there and you double clutch back and because you're trying to get a word in edgewise, right? But see, that's not a conversation, that's a con. Because what's happening is that person is robbing you of the opportunity to share ideas. And that's exactly what's supposed to happen when it comes to the networking event. So bottom line is beware of that double Dutch, double clutch and that con as opposed to that conversation that should be happening in the sharing of ideas. The second one is the secret orientation, or the job application, I call it. If you've ever come across that person or persons that when you get to the point of asking for a card and they hand you about 12 of them, you ever been in that situation, right? And you kind of look around, after you wonder what happened. Did I just apply for a job? Do I work for him now? I don't know what just happened there, right? And I always look at that and I kind of, kind of tongue in cheek, I laugh at that, but it happens. And listen, this is just, I want to keep this real simple and on the surface because it's really networking 101. It's the most basic of basics, but understand and know that in my experience anyway, I ask for a card, but I rarely give mine out right away unless it's asked for, if that makes sense. I would much rather the person ask for my card because in my mind, that means that a little bit more, and maybe it's just me, but a little bit more, maybe that means that they actually do want it. Maybe that means that they actually will take the information, put it in their phone, respond, whatever the case may be, is if they want it. So don't be too fast to peel off 2 or 3 cards or what have you when a person asks for a card because they say, well, I know someone, the network type of conversations that happen out there. Oh, well, I know, oh, well, here you go, give them a couple, so forth. Kind of wait and make sure you're keeping that spotlight on the person that you're talking to, as opposed to that spotlight turning back around and shining just on you, because it really isn't about you. It's about having big eyes and big ears to listen to what the other person has. And I'll touch on that here as we wrap up. And then you've got the comfort zone, living on an island. I like this one because that's where you're not really all that comfortable when you go to a particular event, but you find 1 or 2 other people who are like that also as well and content to do nothing but stay together. And man, y'all just get joined at the hip. You just find one of them tall tables, you know what I'm talking about, where you're out, if it's an outdoor type of event or what have you, you put your drinks and your food there or whatever, you make a beeline only over to the food, over to the drinks or whatever, and you come straight back. Hopefully not talking to anybody encountering you. There's one problem with that. Even though you're comfortable and you're living on that island in that sense, there's one problem. You have just forgotten what networking is all about. You are purposefully and intently looking for someone to meet that you didn't know before you came there. If you leave with the same network, if you will, same amount of people that you knew before you got there, if you leave that way, you missed it. You missed an incredible opportunity, not necessarily for someone to buy your product, for you to be able to help connect someone else so that their phone can ring. Remember that definition, right? So really, as well, we're talking about it, some of the seemingly easiest things in the world to do are the hardest to practice every day. So when you want to improve your true connect working skills, it comes down to just a few simple steps, comrades. It really is. Number one, ask questions. Did you know that if you ask the right questions, people will actually tell you what their needs are? And that gives you the opportunity to hope. Hope being help other people every day. X, we can't get off of these presentations without having at least one acronym, man. It wouldn't even be official. So we have to have that, right? Giving you the opportunity to help other people every day. That's what we're simply out here to do. And by the way, Dale, I so appreciate that you said it hasn't really helped you in that sense, or you just haven't engaged at the level that others have. And of course, I'm paraphrasing what your comments were, but I would absolutely share with you that the way that you help people and help other people every day, you've been networking at a level that you just don't necessarily recognize, but you've been doing exactly that all these years. So just keep on keeping on, right? And then also listen. I always tell people, have big eyes, but have big ears. Intentional listening, not the listening that you just are able to go, because it sounds similar to before, but actually learning what your colleagues' services are, what their goals are, even what their passion is, so that you can feel what they're feeling. And then you can know what I call know just enough to be dangerous, to connect that person to someone else. Know just enough to be dangerous. What if you were there with the actual intent to be able to help someone else's phone ring? I want you to think about that. If you went to what I would call the perfect networking event, It would be an event where everyone in that room is intently listening for the opportunity to be able to help someone else's phone ring. Can you imagine what that would be like being in that room? Well, I see it every Saturday morning, quite frankly, as far as I'm concerned, in this room right here. And then last but not least is the follow-up. It's been said that the fortune is in the follow-up. I throw one more word in there. The fortune is in the timely follow-up. Nothing more professional than actually visiting the website. Like you said, when you were standing in front of that individual, right? Okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna check that out. Well, how about if you actually did and then call that person back like you said you would, just because you said you would, right? We talked about that last week, if I'm not mistaken, doing things just because you said you would. Believe it or not, that can separate you from all of the other persons. And we want to be able to be in the service side of the house. I was listening to what Jason Smith said, in fact, in serving your network. I thought that was very, very powerful, because we all know that service to many leads to greatness. And so, comrades, how do you network? How do you connect, work one to another to be able to bring everyone hope, help other people every day? So in interest of time, Dr. X, I'm gonna go ahead and stop there, sir, and turn it back over to you, and hope I share something that'll help.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks, Eddie. Appreciate that. I mean, I know you had a lot more to say. I know you had a lot more in your presentation, but I think you provided us the most important salient points to be able to really apply these today, today, immediately. So thanks so much for your presentation. Thanks so much for everyone being here. Hopefully you can join the next call. I put it in the chat pod. You may have gotten an email invitation as well. But I'm going to move over to the Retired Military Officers Association meeting. But I just wanted to thank you all here for being on this call, all about networking. And hopefully see you next Saturday, where we talk about the P in empowerment, which is perceptions. You all have a great weekend. Take care. God bless.